Have you ever noticed that when you get caught up in the spirit of competition, there's a good chance everyone involved ends up as losers? Well, that's what the Loud Kids found out in the episode I'm going to talk about today. So join me as I, SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, bring you another retro review from past seasons of the Loud House. Cue the intro. Today's episode is Come Sail Away.
Come sail away, come sail away with me.
In this episode, the kids compete to see who can sell the most stuff during their annual garage sale, but things take a turn for the worse when they think they sold Lily's blanket by accident. The main driving force behind this entire episode from start to finish is competition. I can sort of relate to the idea this episode was going for, because my brother and I used to get into sibling rivalries about who could do the most or who could be the best at something. That's literally the only thing the kids do throughout the episode. Each of them were so hell-bent on trying to sell the most of their own stuff that they started selling everything, and I do mean everything they had inside their house, just so they could up their chances. To boost their egos even more, they continued their competitiveness when they were going around town looking for Lily's blanket just so they could take the credit in being the first one to find it. Technically, they all found something that resembled the blanket, but it turned out they each got those items from Flip, who swindled all of them out of their garage sale money in exchange for what they were looking for. It's then revealed Lily's blanket was at the house the whole time and that their mom had taken it so she could have it washed. Rita was also shocked to find the kids sold everything they owned. Apparently, both she and her husband had no idea all their furniture was sold off by their kids, but how could they not have seen or heard what their kids were doing? Lynn Sr. was in the kitchen and some of the kids were taking things and making a lot of noise right behind him. Rita was down in the basement and the kids were taking things and making noise right in front of her. And remember, the mom would have had to have come upstairs to get Lily's blanket and then head back down into the basement. I'm pretty sure she would have had to have seen how completely empty the house was long before she returned Lily's blanket. There's no way she or Lynn Sr. could have been that oblivious to not have seen or heard the kids rushing around moving all their possessions outside when they were clearly making all kinds of noise. It's a similar plot hole that happens in Cover Girls, where somehow the parents are conveniently unaware of what their kids are doing even though they're not too far away and again making a lot of noise. But besides that, the most memorable thing of the episode would be everyone's many victory dances. The ones they did in the flashbacks were okay and were kinda funny, but the ones they did after getting grounded were just unsettling. They really wanted to emphasize the twerking aspect of their dances, and that's heavily reflected in a few of them. It was a weird mix of being a little funny and a little cringe-inducing, and even more so when the parents decided to get involved. But you know what? Despite my feelings, the victory dance scene was not all that bad. At least everyone ends their part of the story on a happy note, which is more than I can say for Flip. Speaking of whom, the last thing I found a tad amusing was the foreshadowing with Flip when Lucy gave him a psychic reading and said his business would be booming. During the final few seconds of the episode, he started mixing the expired chemicals he bought from Lisa so he could make and then sell his own brand of windshield wiper fluid, resulting in a giant explosion from within the food and fuel, meaning his business was literally booming. Like I said, it was a little amusing. Not as amusing as Lenny thinking something being 50% off and being half off are two different things, but it was still okay for a quick laugh. Overall, this episode is not exactly terrible, and it doesn't deserve the amount of criticism it gets. It was a fairly standard sibling-focused episode where their individual desires to be number one became their own undoing, and they literally paid the price for it. If you're willing to look past certain things like the plot hole with the parents being oblivious to their kids taking stuff out of the house and the unsettling depiction of some of the victory dances, this is an episode I would definitely recommend. With that said, I give Come Sail Away a 7 out of 10. Well folks, that concludes my review of Come Sail Away. So I gotta ask, what did you guys think of this episode? Sound off in the comments below, and be sure to click that subscribe button for more Loud House related content. That's going to do it for me. I'll catch you guys for the next video, but until then, this is SteamTeamRedubUK, CC Trainor-Ling, signing off. Peace out, home slices.